Things are not looking good for the upcoming Indiana Jones and the Great Circle game. A retail insider tells me that the game has 89%, or excuse me, 86% worse pre-orders than Dragon Age the Veilguard. I wrote this up over at fandompulse.com. You can find the link in the description below. I encourage you to head on over there, become a subscriber. Not only become a subscriber, become a paid subscriber, because you will get exclusive content like this over there on Fandom Pulse. So, Retail Insider shared with Fandom Pulse that Indiana Jones and the Great Circle's Premium Edition has been ordered 208 times. However, 46 of those orders have already been canceled, bringing the total to 162. As for the standard version of the game, it's been pre-ordered 129 times, but 34 of those have been canceled. That brings the total to 95. If we add those two numbers, 95, 162, we get 257 total pre-orders at the retail level. This is a disaster. Now, obviously, it's not Unknown 9 Awakening levels of disaster, but it is much, much worse than Dragon Age the Veilguard and even Star Wars Outlaws. So this is 86% decline compared to Dragon Age the Veilguard. We know kind of what Dragon Age the Veilguard numbers were because we saw some retail numbers coming from Stuttering Craig, the host and owner of the Side Scrollers podcast here on YouTube, friend of the channel. He revealed that there were a total of 1,957 pre-orders for Dragon Age the Veilguard back on October 14, about 2 weeks before the game's release. And that's about where we are now, right? Because Indiana Jones and the Great Circle comes out on December 9. It's now November 20th. We're about 2-3 weeks from the game's release. So I think these are pretty apt comparisons as far as how far out we are from the game's release. But you can see there, 1957 total pre-orders for Dragon Age the Veilguard, 1,552 for PlayStation 5, and 405 for Xbox. Now, obviously, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle will not be releasing on PlayStation 5 on December 9. It has like a 6-month, or there's a certain period of exclusivity. I don't know if it's 6 months or not. I have to go and double check that, but it's released on Xbox exclusive first. But that also means it is releasing on Steam as well. So it's exclusive to Xbox, I guess, based on the console. So we can also compare this to Star Wars Outlaws. That same retail source that shared with me the information, this information that we're getting here for Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, had previously shared with me information for Star Wars Outlaws. And with Star Wars Outlaws, we saw there were 6,469 total pre-orders, with 5,341 for PlayStation 5 and 1,398 for Xbox. So that is 96% less than Star Wars Outlaws, the Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Remember, Indiana Jones, 257, 96% less than 6,469. So not looking good at all for this game when we're comparing to Star Wars Outlaws, when we're comparing to Dragon Age the Veilguard. Games I think have performed pretty poorly compared to what they needed to perform. We know that Star Wars Outlaws has performed pretty poorly because they've admitted it. Ubisoft has said sales were softer than expected and that it underperformed their expectations. And they're hoping that the Steam release will help it. But I'm actually going to have an article and a video on that probably later today about how it's not looking good for that on Steam either. But we can also look at Indiana Jones and the Great Circle here over on Steam. As you can see, it is 28th on SteamDB's most wishlisted upcoming Steam games. That's basically where Dragon Age the Veilguard had been sitting about the month ahead of its release. It did finally start moving up once we saw like Metaphor Refantasio, Dragon Ball, Sparking Zero, etc. Get released. And so it kind of moved up there. But what is really interesting here is in contrast to Dragon Age the Veilguard, which I think was sitting around like 60,000 followers around there in the same time frame before its release, Indiana Jones only has 41,909. Now, it's probably gone up since I wrote this last night, but I would say it's probably only gone up marginally. But you can see it's also sitting in the 257th spot in top sellers. That is much worse than Dragon Age the Veilguard. I think Dragon Age the Veilguard was like 180 around there. So I expect this game to perform much worse than Dragon Age the Veilguard when it does release on December 9th. And so, as I said a little bit earlier, we do have some rumors about what the sales were for Star Wars Outlaws and Dragon Age Veilguard. Obviously, with Outlaws, Grant Taylor Hill at Insider Gaming reported that it was about 1 million sales worldwide for that game. And then I said that Ubisoft didn't confirm that number, but did say that sales were softer than expected and underperformed sales expectations. As for Dragon Age Veilguard, the most recent rumor that we have regarding that game sales was from Smash JT about a little over a week ago. He said that it hit over 1 million sales. So we'll see if we hear anything from that. But neither BioWare nor its parent company, Electronic Arts, have commented on the game sales. Although I think all indications point to the game being a financial flop, given the fact that it had to sell at least, I think, 5 million units. And I think that's probably on the conservative end, with estimates basically trying to factor in how much it costs to just produce the game, maybe not even factoring in marketing, etc. And that's probably putting those costs on the lower end rather than maybe what they might have actually have spent, especially given we've seen basically throughout this year lots of video game developers admitting that they are overspending, their budgets are ballooning, and they're just clearly not able to recoup those costs, even selling 1 million units. So that's basically your update here for Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, what my retail insider has informed me, and then providing some comparisons to some recent releases that we've seen. And I just don't think that this game is going to do well. Retail numbers are down clearly significantly compared to Star Wars Outlaws, Dragon Age: The Veilguard. It is definitely down on Steam as well. Just doesn't look like there is a lot of buzz around this property. I think that the IP has been significantly harmed by the Walt Disney Company with Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny film. We know that that movie didn't even the box office gross was only like 380 million or something like that, and the production budget was 400 million. So it didn't even match its production budget, lost a bunch of money, and I think did significant harm to the brand, the Indiana Jones brand. And I think it's going to affect things like this game right here. And so it's not looking good. Obviously, there's the guy in the rainbow shirt as well, admitting that the game is for the modern audience. It's got the girl boss who's lecturing Indiana Jones in the trailer. Showed that in previous videos. She's saving him, but with like superhuman strength. Like Indiana Jones is literally like almost parallel to the floor, like Mission Impossible, like Ethan Hunt in that first Mission Impossible movie. And she's just yanking him by the back of his shirt and pulling him up. And it's just utterly ridiculous that would be happening. This like waif of a woman is just yanking Indiana Jones back of his shirt like he's a piece of toast or something. Just utterly ridiculous stuff that we've seen. So not surprising that these numbers are indeed as low as they are. I think we can get them lower. Because for everything I'm seeing so far, this game definitely looks like it is going to be pushing a woke message and the woke agenda. But let me know what you guys make of this. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, especially to each other, and to always speak the truth.